posts and then return to our Sephora adventures. Our next speaker is someone who I'm personally a little obsessed with. I think she feels it. I think it's kept her a little distant from me. She is a pixie sprite magic sci-fi queen. She's the recipient of this year's Whiting Award, which, if you don't know what that is, it's an award of note, and her work has appeared in such literary magazines as Glimmer Party, Teddy Bear Headspace, and Junior Janitors. I made all three of those up. Her name is Alice Ola Kim, and we're so lucky that she's here with us.
Thanks for being here tonight, and thanks to Lenny for being wonderful and distinctive and special. I'm going to highlight one of those things right now. So I write short fiction, and I've had 2 stories published in Lenny. I worked with them on that, and it was wonderful. And this is the only time that multiple friends of mine have said, "Hey, Alice, I was really hungover / had to get up early for work / was just waking up in the morning, and there was your story in my inbox, and I read it in bed." And I love that, so thank you. I'm going to read from a short story that's going to be published tomorrow on BuzzFeed Reader. It's called Successor, Usurper, Replacement. There was no question of going home that night. The streets below Lee's high-rise apartment were flooded, and everyone had received an alert that the beast had been sighted near their area. If they went out, their safety could not be guaranteed. The wording of the alert troubled everyone, even though, of course, this was always the case, the non-guarantee of anyone's safety ever. But still, the warnings were alarmingly pushy and made your phone buzz and compelled you to look immediately at the message from the city telling you, "Hi, just a reminder that we're all gonna die someday, especially you, and it might even happen sooner than expected. Hi." When Wong had lifted his phone to check if it had been damaged by the rain, it buzzed with the alert. Then each of theirs did, one after another. Lee ran to the windows and drew the blinds shut. It was superstition, she knew, but they had all heard rumors that even seeing the beast could be dangerous. That night, half of the group was missing, having canceled earlier with many exclamation points. Sick, headache, forgot, in utter terror of going outside. Only Huynh, Kim, and Wong had made it. Not everyone in the group was Asian, but only the Asians were present tonight, which made them all feel a little self-conscious. Still, Lee was glad to see them. The group was not small enough to feel awkward, like that time when it was only Lee and someone else facing Kim, like a parent and principal as they were going to town on his writing. As was customary, Lee was hosting, since her writing was up for discussion by the group tonight. Another custom, alcohol. Huynh had brought a box of Pinot Grigio that had a picture of an actual bottle of wine on the front, which seemed like an unintuitive marketing choice to remind you so baldly of what you weren't getting. But Huynh didn't care if something was gross, as long as there was a lot of it. She ate as if she'd recently emerged from a nuclear bunker. Kim had brought a 6-pack of gruesomely hoppy IPA, which gave one's tongue a post-diarrhea sensation, desiccated and sour. Finally, Wong had brought a bottle of whiskey less than half full, an extremely irritating offering, which would only be appreciated later in the evening. The restaurants in the area had stopped delivering, so Lee set a pot of pasta bubbling on the stove. Everyone kept glancing at it resentfully, knowing that it would make them feel fat immediately and ravenous half an hour later. They still wanted it very much. Wong tried to call couch for the night, and Huynh smiled at him. "You can try," she said. Lee dragged a dusty air mattress from the closet and told Wong and Kim they could sleep on it tonight. This was a cursed air mattress. Those who laid upon it were flush with the floor before dawn and beset with prehistorically brutal colds by morning. But no one had to know that. Though their friendships were no less potent across genders, something old-fashioned and unchill, an Asian, non-huggy thing, kept them from sharing physical boy-girl space. Hwin, in fact, was terrible at physical contact in general. Hwin hugged like a haunted porcelain doll that had come to life. One summer during college, Lee, Wong, and Kim had sublet an apartment in the city together. And without any argument or question, Lee had taken the king bed in the master bedroom, while Wong and Kim had shared the tiny guest bedroom and its twin floor mattress, where essentially Kim slept curled by Wong's feet every night, sprawled half on the mattress and half on a pile of clothes on the floor. Of course, no one had thought to give Lee the tiny guest bedroom, but that was usual. Lee got things. Occasionally, it seemed, like more things than any one person deserved, but she worked hard enough to deserve many of them, like her apartment. She made enough money to buy everything that the store had told her went with the items she'd picked out. Her home was beautiful in a way that wouldn't necessarily make you compliment the owner, since it was clear that some giant hand with impeccable corporate catalog taste had set down each element in her home like a chess piece, only letting go when everything was just right. But her friends were hers, and her friends she surveyed in satisfaction draped over her furniture, pinned in for the night. Everyone, the older they got, slipped away. They were harder to hold to real plans, or once the plans were made and honored, harder to keep for long enough, as if death and the way objects got colder and spun out further and further from each other was a process that begun long, long, long before the actual dying and heat loss, so subtly that no one knew to be scared enough to stop it. Lee loved her friends, and she loved that they couldn't leave tonight. Could there be something like taxidermy, but without anything dying? She wondered. If she could do something like killing her friends, but not killing, of course. Not killing, but a kind of killing of their lives and outside worlds that would force them to stay here and have fun. Except they wouldn't know that they were being forced. It's just that staying here and having fun would be all that they wanted to do and could imagine doing. Would she do it? The intercom beeped. Lee was startled, for no one else had been expected. On the intercom, she saw a long-haired girl standing still, head hanging, blurred by the rain. It was, Lee couldn't exactly remember her name, but she did know that the girl was a new member of the group, someone who somebody else had invited. So she buzzed her in. Lee heard the distant shunk of the elevator below. Then the door slid open. The elevator opened directly into Lee's apartment, as it did for every unit in the building, which was supposed to be a fancy amenity, but it felt more like your body had a gaping hole that led right into your guts. Not that kind of hole. So immediately, the girl was in Lee's apartment. No time to think about whether it was the right choice or not to let her in, although, why wouldn't she? The rain had reduced the girl to the purest essence of herself, hair plastic to her head, clothes and even skin seeming to adhere more tightly to her skeleton. She had long, thick bangs. Although the rain had separated them into chunks, the bangs covered her eyes so perfectly that you only knew she had eyes because you assumed she had eyes. Why wouldn't she have eyes? But did she have eyes? Thank you very much.